Rosie, this is your feedback for assignment 3C part 2 and 3. So this was about movement and angles, and it was also about the chroma key and effects. So if we start off with the chroma key and effects one, for the pass you were to describe the chroma key and effects. You were to explain the reasons and benefits for a merit, and you explain the purposes in relation to music or lyrics and visuals for the second merit. For the distinction you had to compare and assess, particularly in terms of the successful and unsuccessful examples. For the past, you were describing how you do it and what it is. So just looking through that task, I don't have a title for it, which is a concern because there's nothing there. So that's quite poor labelling at this stage. Remember, this is the second year of the course now. You shouldn't be making those very basic errors. If we look through, you've described it. You've described it again. You've described what it is, and then there's examples. There isn't any analysis here, Rosie, so this is at best a pass, I'm afraid. And even that is quite low in terms of the fact that you haven't included the actual piece of work that you've got on there, I'm afraid. So this is really unacceptable, and you've had 3 hours of homework time plus classwork time to perform this. So I'm quite concerned here. Going to camera movements and angles, there's 2 posts here called movements and angles. They look to be very similar, in fact, in that you've got a screenshot. If I go to task 3C, okay, so we've got a bit more here. So for this task, I'll just refer you back to the blog. Here we had, this was in October, I believe, Techniques of Music Videos 3C. So for this one, we actually gave you a lot of the answers here on the wheel. So your job was to use your class notes that we took in the lesson where we explored these things with the examples that I gave you, and then actually incorporate some of these into your response. Here is the full list. If we just go down, it's under prep work, I believe, so that'll be the first post in November. There we go, homework and prep work. There we go, so here's the full list. We've got tilt, arc, track away, dolly in, low angle, high angle, canted, crash zoom, bird's eye, and handheld. Now, I suspect we've got a lot of them here, but I don't think we've got necessarily all of them. But that's not necessarily a problem as long as you've covered them in detail. So we've described it. We don't say what it's used for. So again, for the merit here, you would have had to explain the purposes with examples in a music video and explain the purposes of the angles in a music video. I don't have that, I don't have any examples. That looks consistent all the way through. Great, a dramatic effect for the viewers, showing the producer's creativity. I mean, arguably that's a merit, but because there's no example, I couldn't have anything to hang on. Again, show dominance and power, that's true. And you've got a picture here, so there's potentially a merit, but it's not consistent enough, certainly with movements, to really be discussing this in detail. Also here, we've got realism that the handheld camera brings, but you haven't found me an example. That's interesting too. I like what you've written there about the performance music video, because it makes them want to buy the artist tickets. That's interesting. I mean, certainly there's aspects of merit in this, but I wouldn't personally give this the merit because it's just not detailed enough in terms of what you're referring to. As soon as your target, I believe, is at DMM, you know, I think you need to spend considerably more time on this in order to achieve the grades that you're expecting for university. So overall, I'd say it's a high pass, very much borderline on the merit, but not quite there yet.